It's another Ask Hoggy, and there's plenty of questions about the state of Test cricket at the moment. India's team going to England. Brendan McCullum, is he the right man for the job over there in England? And Tim David also gets a mention in the vlog. Now, let's not waste any time and get to the first question. It's from Pritam Das. Thanks for following me, Pritam. And it's a good question. Many journalists, former cricketers, say that Test cricket is dying because of the huge market of IPL. They also say that just like football in coming days, only league cricket, that's IPL, PSL, Big Bash, will influence more over international cricket. What's my take on it? Well, I agree that T20 tournaments around the globe are starting to impact international cricket. The reason being is that franchises are owned by corporates, and corporates want good return on their investment. And the way to do that is to have a high quality product for you, the fan. And if you get that, you're able to sell more sponsorship on your Guernseys, as well as sell more merchandise where the big bucks are. Now, if you look at a team like KKR, they are starting to go around the globe in trying to get teams in other T20 franchises. They've already got one in the Caribbean League, the IPL, but they've got one in the South African League and the UAE League, which is just starting in January around the corner. They still go and persist asking ECB and Cricket Australia to see if they can invest in teams in those T20 tournaments as well. So that gives you an indication of where the game's moving forward. It's more to the T20 franchise type cricket. But in saying this, the boards around the globe as well as ICC have to sit down with these franchise owners and have a plan of where they want cricket in the long-term future. Because if it's all about the T20 tournaments, all of a sudden international cricket goes and grassroots cricket goes as well. The development of youth coming through is going to be displaced if we just go down the T20 route. So that's something we've got to look at, grassroots cricket, because if we don't have that, we won't have a product that is going to be entertaining, engaging fans, and all stakeholders will lose out. That's my big issue with T20 tournaments taking control of the game of cricket around the globe. Good question there, Pritam. I like it. Vibor Shrivastava, Entertainment, thanks very much for getting on board there, Vibor. Sir, how do you see India's test team building under Rohit? Ajinkya Rahane and Ishan Sharma have been dropped from the team, and we have Shreyas Iyer and Prasidh Krishna as new faces. I think it's great that the selectors from India have removed Ajinkya Rahane and Ishan Sharma from the team. They're ageing, they haven't been performing to their best of the ability of late, and they've got to move on and bring youth in. And you need to rotate your players to make sure that youth is getting experienced alongside the more experienced players. So you've got Iyer, who's going to spend a number of years batting alongside Kohli, learning the game of the longer form and being able to develop a game plan where he's going to succeed. And then you've got Krishna coming up alongside Bumrah and Shami. So I think it's a good policy to make sure you're rotating those players and having a youth policy. But looking at this team going to England, bowling is the strength of India. They're definitely going to have Shami and Bumrah in the attack, but I'd like to see Krishna alongside Siraj as well. You've got Krishna with the extra height, Siraj with a bit of pace as well as moving the ball. I think that would be a great combination with Jadeja being the only spinner. The only reason why I've got Jadeja there is he adds batting depth. The batting is going to be the weak part. Rohit Sharma, Pujara and Kohli aren't in good nick at the present moment. They've got to find that touch to give India a chance of winning this one-off test match over in England. So that's my take on it. Your bowling's a strength, and that's going to keep you in the contest. The batting's got to stand up. And England have played a couple of test matches before you play them there. That's going to put you on the back foot. I'm actually favouring England in this one-off test match. Good question there, Vibor. Okay. At Crap123 from Twitter, your take on Brendan McCullum being appointed England's red ball coach. I think England have taken a huge gamble here in going for Brendan McCullum, But the upside is Brendan McCullum brings a different energy to the team. England play a defensive style of cricket, and as seen over the decades, over the years, that does not win you test matches. You need to win test matches to make sure you give yourself the best chance of playing in a test championship final with the way that the test game is set up right now. And the only way to do that is to have an attacking, positive brand of cricket, and that's what Brendan McCullum brings. Also, looking at Brendan McCullum, the way that he's coached over the last couple of years, the way that he captained New Zealand, he led the team from the front with that aggressive approach, but he also was able to lift his teammates, lift the players. And by doing that, he was able to give them a role where they knew exactly what they had to do out in the middle to make sure that they put their team in a good position to win the game. So Brendan McCullum brings a lot of positives. The only negative with Brendan McCullum is his experience. And look, in saying that they've taken a huge gamble, I think it's the best gamble that you can actually make because he's bringing a different light to the English game, which is needed. But Brendan's got a bit of a problem there with the English game, the way that they develop test cricketers. They don't concentrate on the longer form of the game. They're more concentration. The concentration is more on the white ball format, and that is going to make it difficult for Brendan to bring the best out of test cricket in England moving forward. So it's more the change of structure that's needed, not the coach. Next question, we'll go to Def Mango, and he asks, who will Tim David inevitably replace in the Australian T20 lineup? Now, if we look at the final of Australia in the last T20 World Cup last year, I think Tim David could come in and replace Aaron Finch. Aaron Finch has been out of form for a long period of time, and it's unsustainable to keep him in. He's got to change that very quickly, or he's got to be out of the team. You can't carry players when you're coming to a T20 World Cup. So Finch is on notice. Now, taking Finch out of the equation, you bring Steve Smith up from the lower order and open the batting with him. And then Stoinis comes up to 5 and Tim David comes in at number 6. Tim David, for me, around the globe, is the best number 6 that you can have. He's the only player that consistently comes in the final 4 overs and finds the boundary straight away. And it's a unique talent to have, and Australia have got to utilise that. But the other issue, Australia have a rule that if you're not contracted with a first-class team in Australia, I know what I'm talking about is a state team. Tim David's contracted to a T20 team, but you've got to be contracted to a state team to represent Australia in T20 internationals. He doesn't have that contract. Australia have got to change that rule because it's a different type of cricket. It's a different format. Tim David's the bee's knees to be in that number 6 role, and you can't have a rule as stupid as that Cricket Australia have got keeping a player like that out. Tim David's got to be playing in our team. All right, final question. This is from Imkana001 from the Twitter feed. What changes do you suggest to the World Test Championship? For me, I think each test series has got to have the same number of test matches played. You can't have a series of 5 test matches and then other teams playing a series of 3 test matches, 2 test matches, or even 4 test matches in there. Every series has got to have the same amount of test matches played in it. If you're going to have a test match championship, it's got to be on an even keel. So for me, that's the change that I'd have. There's not too many other changes that I'd add to the Test Championship format. But on a global perspective with all 3 formats, I'd still change the calendar. We've got to get the calendar right where there's a test. When teams are playing a test series, they're playing it in the same month so that we can understand what's happening on the table in that particular scenario. And then we have a white ball format of series being played around the globe. So that we're not having different brands of cricket played at different times. That's the other thing that I would change. But guys, they were very good questions. I want you to get your comments downstairs as well because it's important that you get your say. And I might be able to bring some of your points up in future vlogs. But thanks very much for supporting me, and thanks very much for supporting cricket more importantly. Have a great day, guys.